Hello, welcome to this video discussing the subject of Blue Open Studio communicating to controllers running the CoDeSys system. In this second part, we will take a deeper dive into tag integration, more specifically tag integration strictly using an XML file. In the first video, we focused on live tag browsing using the tag integration feature. So this is just a little bit of a different twist on that. Okay, moving on. So the agenda is actually the same. We'll review the basics. We'll show what this looks like in the CoDeSys programming environment. We'll show what this looks like in the Blue Open Studio environment, and then we'll show a live communication demo. Okay, so reviewing basics. So again, this is using the in this case, I'm using the CoDeSys driver in Blue Open Studio. This driver is supporting these, version 2 or version 3. Again, this goes back to part 1. So again, this part is all just a review. The important pieces are for version 3 that requires that a symbol configuration be created in the CoDeSys environment. And again, here we're focusing on the RD3 client connection. And then tag integration, like we're going to talk about today, in limited online browsing using the tag integration function is supported. Okay, and then again, driver sheets can be used concurrently or exclusively. Right. Okay, so in this part 2, like I said, we're going to focus on tag integration. Okay, and we're going to talk about building that XML file in the CoDeSys environment, and then how we get that and how is that used in the Blue Open Studio environment. Okay, so here we are in our CoDeSys environment. Again, this is using Schneider's Machine Expert software specifically. And what you'll see here is what I did here is I called up the global variable list in tabular view just so you can see this a little bit better. So what I've done is I've tried to create a different array of different data types and array types in substructures and then arrays of structures to see how that looks, basically to show you what that looks like when you browse these with tag integration. Okay, so you can see here I've got a bool, I've got just a simple array of integers, a one-dimensional array of integers. Then I actually have a two-dimensional array of integers here that I've declared. Then here I have an array of a structure, a top assembly structure. Then here I just have a simple integer. Here I have a simple instance of a motor structure. And then here I have a array of that motor structure. And then again, at the end here, just a simple integer. So that's what that looks like here. So when we talk about this, so when you look at this again in the CoDeSys environment, you do have to add this symbol configuration to your application by right-clicking an application and then adding an object. And obviously, since I've already added it, you won't see it in this list, but that's just a procedure to do it, just to kind of reiterate that. So when I actually go ahead and look at the symbol configuration here, what you'll notice is right now, every time you reopen the project, and again, I'm not a CoDeSys or machine expert, so there's probably different settings that I could work around, for example. So right now, this program is actually running and is deployed in the PLC, but just for example purposes here, what you'll basically see is you kind of have, I have an unbuilt XML file. So there is some procedure for here, and again, because I'm not an expert, what I've been doing is I've been saving the project. And again, all you CoDeSys guys, don't kill me. I don't do it every day. So I'm going to go ahead and generate the code, and then let's just see what happens. Okay. So now my global variable list, so now it seems that I'm going to go ahead and build it anyway. I probably don't need to. Probably that build alone probably gave me the XML file that I need. So now when I go browse to my XML document, yeah, you can see this is my XML right here at the top, and it was just saved. Take my word for it. That's the time that it is right now, where I am in Chicago. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and go to my Blue Open Studio environment. Okay, so here we are in our Blue Open Studio environment, and you can see I've pre-created a screen just so we can go ahead and fill that in. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to establish the connection to the controller via the communication tab here under project, because we're going to be using tag integration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add a tag integration. And in this case, CoDeSys. We're going to leave the prefix the same. Again, this is a prefix that gets put onto the name of the variable when you bring it into Glue Open Studio, just to identify, basically, and this is identifying it, right? So you can see it's a tag prefix, and this is what's going to identify the fact that that is coming from the tag integration. So I'm going to go ahead and add it. Okay. Now we have the standard. This is the same dialog we went through before. I have to put in my CoDeSys version 3.x setting, and then I go ahead. We still need to put in our runtime address, so let me go ahead and go get that. Okay, so what I did is I went to my CoDeSys environment and I basically copied the again the node name string from my CoDeSys software, again because we're connecting via node name, and here you can see it's my TM262-15 at, and then okay, that's what gets us to the PLC when we actually want to connect. Okay, so now in this case, now what we could do at this point, again, remember what I can do at this point is I could just simply go OK, and I can back out, and when I go into my different objects, I would be able to actually live browse the PLC and pull the tags in directly from the PLC. But in this case, what we're going to do is we're not going to rely on that. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to say we're going to do this in an offline way, or a method. Okay, and so through the magic of video editing, what I've done here is now is I've browsed to the place on my PC where I've stored that XML file from my CoDeSys environment. So I'm just going to go ahead and select that file. You can see in my file preview here what it is. You can see it's just there it is, kind of just what it looks like. I'll go ahead and open it up. So now I've created that link to that file. Okay, I'm going to click OK, and I back out. Okay, so now what happens is when I go ahead and let's say I go into one of these objects, and now I want to go get a tag. When I go ahead and browse, you'll see and it popped up right away. Here's my device, right? That's the prefix application. Here's the stuff that's in my global variable list. So for example, I'll just go ahead and pick out this this was an integer, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I want to put that here. And I could select this one, and I'm going to go ahead and browse. And then what I wanted to show you, so for example, when I look into a simple integer array, you can see here what happens now is when you see the question mark in between the bracket, what that's going to allow you to do is that's actually going to allow you to come up here and then select which index location you want to pick from. So out of that array, this is what I can pick like that. So I can assign that there. Okay, I'll go to this other object. Okay. And then now the other thing, now what we can do is when the way this looks when we have, say, a class, right? So when we have this instance of a motor, for example, here, now what you'll notice is now I have the ability to come up here and choose the member. Okay, and we'll just go ahead and we'll choose temperature, for example, like that. Okay, moving on, we'll go down to this other object. Okay. So now let's take a look at what it looks like to kind of drill into, so for example, for this 2D array. So now what you'll see is that you do have full access to the two-dimensional array here. You'll notice that you have full access to the two-dimensional array here, but in this case we're only allowing us to choose the one dimension out of here is the only thing that all these others are fixed to there. I have 0 through 49, etc. Okay, so it's only letting me choose, say, one of these indexes, and we'll talk about it in the next video that I'm going to do on this series. I'm going to talk about what the implications are of when you see something like this and what the impacts is on your project development. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just click OK like that. Okay. And then for our next one, this was that one. So now we go to the next one. And then now what we could do is let's like kind of look, let's drill into a more complex structure that exists within here. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's refresh. Yeah, sometimes it could take a second, right? So here's my work cell structure, right? I've got an array of them. I got a 5-position array, and within each structure, I have another structure. So if I look at the cookers, for example, give this a second. Sometimes it helps to just, yep, there you go. Okay, within the cooker, then I have another, here's another data type buried in here, right? And here it is. And and then let's just pick the temperature, for example. Okay. And then this last one, let's just go ahead and get the bool. And that was just in the, should be right there it is. Okay. And we'll select the bool. Okay. And the other thing, so let's go ahead, let's just save the screen. Go ahead and close the symbols. Let's also just, so we can look at it, let's go ahead and enable some stuff in the watch window. Okay. All right, let's do our famous, let me go to the project settings for the viewer. This is another thing that's helpful to show. And I'll put this in the video just because I think it's helpful for everybody. I don't want to start maximize. I don't want to have the project take over my screen. I just want to have a window so I can move it around, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. All right. And everything should be ready to go. Everything should be ready to talk. So let's just go ahead to the home button. Let's go ahead and hit run. Hopefully we'll see what happens. Oop, gotta drag my values over here. Okay. And then you'll notice down here in the in the watch window, you could see everything is communicating okay. So now what we can do is let's just go up here and let's just change some values. Oh, I don't have data entry on enabled, so let's go to our, let me pause for a second and go to our CoDeSys environment so we can enter some values. Okay, so here I am back in my CoDeSys environment. And let's just go ahead and let's see. So we have some, we did some stuff here in the work cells. Oh, no, let me expand that out. We'll just do a real simple one. I think I did this one. Okay. And we did temperature. And I'll just put in, oops, I'll just put in 1.23. Enter. And I will write, and let's see if I got the right address. I don't know if I did. Give me a second here, bring up the window. Okay, I do, there it is, but I didn't make it for a float, so I just got the front end of it. So I guess just to kind of briefly show you that it is indeed working. We also saw in the watch window that everything was communicating just fine. Here, for example, we can light up the, where is my bool? Let's go ahead and write that. Okay. And then go back to the screen and you can see we're lit. Now the thing's lit. Let's look at it when it's false, just to see the change. And you can see now that it's off. Okay. Okay, so in summary, tag integration is using that XML file that was generated by the CoDeSys build time environment symbol configuration, right? The symbol configuration in the XML build is required for any communication method, right? So whether you're using live tag browsing, driver seats, or tag integration, it all hinges on the symbol config in the XML file. And then when we're making changes, example, if we add or remove PLC variables, if the XML file name does not change, when you simply replace the XML file, when you rebrowse in Blue Open Studio, in other words, when you go back into Blue Open Studio and effectively there's a new XML file. You don't need to do anything in the tag integration part. You can just simply start using the new file. When you use any function or object and you browse to the variable, it'll just pick up what is in the new file. And in fact, if there are changes, so if there's things that are deleted, it will flag you to that as soon as you browse, and it'll ask you what to do with those tags that no longer exist. Okay, so hopefully this was helpful. Look for the next part of this, and we're going to get into some more, a little bit of more advanced topics as far as, and really getting into what's the best way to integrate and use this CodeAssist driver in the real world. So look for that. And but thanks for watching.